What's up, friends? Welcome to my channel where we're doing music covers, original music, album reviews, song reviews, reactions, tier lists, whatever the day calls for. If you like what you see here, please subscribe to the channel. If you have content on here, I'll subscribe to you as well. I am all about supporting up-and-comers on here. My original music can be found at robcarey.bandcamp.com. I have one album to my name right now. It's called Communication. It can be heard in full there. It is quite a few years old now, but I am finally working on the follow-up to that record. It will be called Ugly Living. We're looking at a release sometime next year. We're already 2 studio sessions in the books, and I'm thinking in a couple more studio sessions, at least like what I want to kind of be the single of this record will be done. I'm planning on doing the rollout for this record just like I did my first one, where I'm going to release one single early on ahead of the others and then just kind of slowly get the rest of it done. And so far everything's been great on that front. More news on that coming soon. Adding all of that and finishing up the writing to this record to my schedule of all the things I already do, it kind of has a little bit to do with why this channel has been so lax in content lately. But there's some bands that you just make time for. Intervals is one of them. Anybody who's familiar with my content knows that I'm a huge fan of this project. This is an instrumental project from the mind of Aaron Marshall, a master songwriter. Been a fan of these guys since day one. They got a new album on the way. It's been about 4 years now. The last album they came out with was 2020's Circadian. Got it on vinyl. This is an amazing record. One of the best that they've ever done. And this band has had many phases, many different eras. Through all the peaks and valleys of this project, I can say there hasn't really been a misfire. I would say my least favorite record from this band is probably The Way Forward, which was before Circadian, but it's pretty good too. It just didn't really break any new ground for me, but I like everything these guys have done. Regardless of who Aaron has playing behind him, his songwriting just carries this project. He is such a standout act in a sea of many instrumental bands like this. I would say he's right up there with Chon and Polyphia. Last time around with these guys, we had Neurogenesis, and it was my first 10 out of 10 rating of this year. It was so incredible, man. It was so incredible. It was just such a masterclass on what he does. Amazing songwriting, being at the forefront, techie when it needs to be, more focused on the vibe when it needed to be. Like, all my commentary is on that reaction if you want to see it. I love that track. I think before that we had Mnemonic, another really, really good song. I already pre-ordered this album. Like, I'm so ready for this to get here. This is right up there with the new Story So Far album that's coming in. Just sheer anticipation and just so ready for the next chapter. And I just have a really, really good feeling about this record. I had a really good feeling about Neurogenesis. They just dropped a new track yesterday called Nootropic. That's what we're getting into today. Another track that's going to be on the new album. This one is a little bit on the lengthier side. So let's just get into it, man. Intervals with the song Nootropic. so my prediction for this track before going into it was going to be that I didn't think it was going to quite get to the heights of Neurogenesis. And I just kind of thought it was going to be as good as Mnemonic was, like a solid 8 out of 10 kind of track, which might need some growing room. It'll have things in it that you'll notice right away, but as a whole, it'll need a lot more growing room than Neurogenesis, which reached out and grabbed me instantly. And I would say that's a pretty accurate assessment of what we got here. This one is going to be a little bit more of a grower, and I do struggle to describe how this particular track stands out in the sea of songs that Intervals has. This one is kind of like Mnemonic in that it's kind of more Intervals by the numbers. All the trademark characteristics that we've all grown to love from this project are all here, though. We got the great leads, the techie parts, the more vibey parts, a couple parts where the bass guitar stands out here and there, a couple parts where the drums stand out here and there. This would have fit right in on Circadian. It's very much just them doing what they do, and on first listen, I'm more pressed to describe how this song stands out. I think I noticed a little bit more bass guitar and drum interplay in Mnemonic. I mean, this one out of the three, I would say on first listen, is probably going to be the one that requires the most growing room. If anything, when it comes to what stands out about this track, it was all the visual stuff, all the Sega Genesis graphics and stuff, the IBM computers, and like the whole look of the video. I really, really like that. It definitely fit the vibe. I'm very much looking forward to this album. I think this is either going to be just as good as Circadian, maybe a little bit under it, just depending on the quality of the songs, or it might be the best thing they've ever done. Like, you never know. Like, with Aaron's songwriting chops, as much amazing work as Intervals has pumped out, they might have not even peaked yet. He seems to have some pretty standout musicians in his ranks right now with this current lineup who really feel what he's doing and are really proficient and amazing players. And I'm just along for the ride at this point. Intervals has given me so much great music. Neurogenesis was a very, very high bar to set. I did not think this song was going to be better than that one, and it wasn't, but it's still really good. And that's all I really got to say about this one. I mean, it's a good 8 out of 10. I'm so ready for this record, man. And I say a lot that when I'm really feeling something, the next thing they do is going to be covered here on this channel, and sometimes that doesn't happen. But with these guys, this is a band I'm always going to make time for. You know, I don't know if they're going to release any more singles ahead of this album. It's coming out next month. And, you know, a part of me kind of hopes that they don't, just because I want to hear a lot of this in the context of a full album. Like, yeah, I put this right up there with Mnemonic. Good 8 out of 10 song. Very much Intervals by the numbers, but being done exceptionally well. Everybody got a chance to stand out here. And that's all I got to say about this one. Until next time, thanks for watching.